There is a man in the room who hasn't raised his voice once. He hasn't interrupted. He hasn't leaned forward to make his point louder. He just sits there, watching. And somehow, everyone in that room is aware of him in a way they cannot explain. You've felt it. Maybe you were the loud one, wondering why your energy wasn't landing, why the one who said the least seemed to own the most space. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. Loudness is not power. Loudness is the sound of a man spending everything he has. Composure, real, unshakable composure, is the one signal that status cannot fake and nervousness cannot imitate. This video is about why calm people are feared, not respected, feared, and what it takes to become one of them. In the 2nd century AD, a man inherited the most powerful empire on earth. He didn't celebrate. He didn't rage at enemies or perform gratitude before crowds. That same week, he sat down, privately, and wrote a single line to himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Not for an audience, for no one but himself. That man was Marcus Aurelius, and the generals who served under him described something unsettling about Marcus. His stillness made them uneasy, not because he was cold, because they could never read his ceiling. They never saw him reach his limit. And a man whose limit you cannot find is a man you do not test lightly. This is the premise at the center of everything that follows. Composure is not the absence of intensity. It is intensity that has learned to be silent. And silence, in the right body in the right moment, reads as something very close to danger. Law 1. Loudness reveals your ceiling. When a man raises his voice, he is showing you something. He is showing you exactly where his patience ends, handing you a map of his threshold, unsolicited. Think about the last time you watched someone lose composure in an argument or a negotiation. What did you learn about them? You learned their limit. You learned what it takes to unsettle them. And once you know that, you have leverage. Epictetus, a former slave who had every reason to break, wrote that a man who cannot govern himself cannot govern anything. Not because of virtue, because self-exposure is self-defeat. For you, this means one thing. Every time you feel the urge to respond loudly, to match someone's heat, to prove through volume that you are serious, that urge is the moment your ceiling becomes visible. Hold the line there. That is where composure is built. Not in the easy moments, in that exact one. Law 2. Stillness reads as depth. The brain is constantly running threat assessments on the people around you. One of the primary signals it uses is predictability. A loud, reactive person is deeply predictable. You push here, they respond there. You know the map. And predictable people, at some level, are not threatening. They are manageable. A still person is not predictable. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what it would take to move them. And the mind, confronted with something it cannot model, tends to attribute depth, competence, calculation, experience to fill the blank. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The quietness of that line is the point. He was not performing goodness. He was embodying it in a way that made announcement feel redundant. When you stop explaining yourself to every room, people don't relax around you. They pay closer attention. And that attention is a form of fear. Law 3. The person who doesn't react. First controls the frame. Every exchange has a frame, a silent agreement about who is responding to whom. When you react first, when their coldness makes you warmer, when their dismissal makes you louder, you have accepted a frame they set. You are now operating inside their reality. Sun Tzu understood this as a matter of terrain. The skilled general chooses the ground before the battle begins. Composure is choosing the emotional ground before the conversation begins. It means you arrive already decided about your tempo, your tone, your threshold. Practically, the next time someone tries to provoke a reaction through dismissal or aggression, pause 3 full seconds before responding. Not to calculate, just to let the silence land. That silence will do more than any rebuttal. It signals that you are not running on impulse. And a man not running on impulse is a man whose next move cannot be safely predicted or provoked. Law 4. Composure under pressure. Cannot be faked long-term. You can fake confidence with posture. You can fake authority with volume. You cannot fake composure under real pressure, not for long. Pressure strips every performance down to what is actually underneath. And people, even those who cannot articulate why, feel this. They watch how someone handles bad news. They watch what happens to a person's face when they're contradicted or ignored. Marcus Aurelius ruled during years of plague and constant war. Those who met him described the same thing repeatedly, an unnerving quietness. Not detachment, he clearly cared deeply. But the caring never became noise. That distinction is everything. Caring loudly is performance. Caring quietly is character. The next crisis, the next humiliation, the next moment where everything is pulling you toward reaction, that is your real audience. Handle that with stillness, and you will not need to explain yourself to anyone in that room ever again. Law 5. The quiet man makes everyone wonder what he knows. There is a particular anxiety that emerges around someone who says very little. It is not discomfort at their coldness. It is something more unsettling. You don't know what they're holding. In every room, information is currency. People spend it to connect, to impress, to defend. The person who spends very little of it accumulates a mystery that others fill with their own projections, and those projections tend toward power. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can." He wasn't advocating withdrawal. He was recognizing that the interior life, when protected, creates a quality of presence that spending yourself freely never can. The quiet man makes the loud man nervous because the loud man has already shown all his cards. He traded his mystery for a moment of connection that didn't hold, and now he is looking at someone who hasn't. Everything you don't say is still communicating, and what it communicates, when you are genuinely still, is that there is more here than you are showing. Here is the turn that recontextualizes everything. Composure is not about being unreachable. It is not about performing coldness or training yourself into numbness. The Stoics were not emotionless men. Marcus Aurelius grieved his children. Seneca wrote with visible longing. Epictetus knew suffering in a way most people never will. The composure they practiced, and the composure that actually intimidates, is not the absence of feeling. It is the refusal to let feeling become performance. The loud man is afraid that if he doesn't perform his emotion, it won't count, won't be seen. The still man has stopped needing his emotion to be witnessed to know it's true. That is the actual source of the fear calm people create. Not that they feel nothing. It is that their inner life is sovereign, not available for public consumption, not subject to your reactions. A man whose interior is his own is a man you cannot reach. And the people who cannot reach you will be doe mo will is be will bis for sell babaus be de dao and des be slightly afraid of you. You already know what it costs you to react. The argument you escalated that didn't need to go that far. The time your face showed everything before you had decided to show anything. Every one of those moments was a withdrawal from something that takes time to rebuild. Composure is not a personality type. It is a practice. And like every real practice, it begins not in the easy moments, but in the hardest one. The next one. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not to publish them. He wrote them because he needed the reminder. Every day. He was an emperor, and he still needed the reminder. You are allowed to need it too. But starting now, let your stillness speak first, and let them wonder what it means.